Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners, to a brand new edition and the first edition of this season of the Pewter Pregame Show, brought to you by BetUS. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Bucs fans and Pewter people, as we are getting ready to pregame Bucs versus Commanders, which takes place at 4:25 at Raymond James Stadium later this afternoon. We are so pumped up, so let's get to it. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at pewterreport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. Scott, are you ready for some Bucs regular season football?
It seems like this has been a long time in the making, Matt. At the same time, it seems like we started training camp just like a week ago. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really fun season for the Buccaneers. Some unfortunate injury news to talk about in just a minute that is going to definitely impact this game, but we're going to tell you how the Buccaneers are going to adjust to it. But first, we want you to adjust to our new Pewter Report advertising partner. That's right, the sports book for Pewter Report, BetUS, where the game begins. The folks over at BetUS, which sponsor this Pewter pregame show, are going to give you a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, not just your initial deposit, your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. All you have to do is go to BetUS and click on their, or I should say, use the promo code Pewter, and that will get you that bonus. And here's the best part. Your favorite sports book, BetUS, is back for 30th year of NFL action. That's right. This is the pro when it comes to sports books. 30 years of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus. And if you can want to bet on college football, you can do that. NFL, UFC, it's the way to go. If you're looking for live in-game betting, incredible odds with daily odds boosters, props, and parlays, BetUS has got them. How about fast payouts and exceptional one-to-one customer service? BetUS has got that too. So log on to BetUS, that's BETUS.com, or call 1-800-792-3887. That's 1-800-79-BET-US. BetUS.com, where the game begins, and make sure you use promo code Pewter. Matt, this is going to be a very interesting game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because there was some injury news that we covered not just on Friday on our Pewter Insider Show. We didn't think that Calijah Kancey was going to miss this game, but we certainly learned yesterday that Calijah Kancey's been downgraded from questionable to out for this game. So for a team that's going up against a very fast, mobile, dual-threat quarterback like Jaden Daniels, having your fastest defensive tackle on the sidelines inactive is not exactly what Todd Bowles wanted to hear.
No, it wasn't. And it was kind of crazy, right? Because Friday, we're at practice. Calijah Kancey's out there. So there was like no reason to believe or suspect that he would not be available for the game. Because at the time, all we were looking for and thinking about was the fact that Logan Hall, the other starting defensive tackle besides Vita Vea, whether he was going to play in the game or not. But Todd Bowles said after practice that, yeah, he's the only one that's been ruled out. And then, hours later, we come to find out that Calijah Kancey was limited in practice, but, questionable for the game with that calf injury. And then, of course, Scott, as you just said, downgraded to out. So all of a sudden, defensive tackle becomes a big-time concern going into the game. And yes, Vita Vea is fantastic at what he does, but he's not going to play 100% of the snaps. He'd be worn out if they tried to do so. So now Will Golson becomes a huge factor in this game, which I don't think we were necessarily expecting right away.
Right.
And, with some of the backups, Ernest Brown's on injured reserve right now, so he's not playing. Ben Steely, who they signed off of the Cardinals practice squad, he just arrived on Friday. So, how much of the playbook can he necessarily get down? Luckily, the Bucs had some defensive tackles on the practice squad. Mike Green, who Todd Bowles seems to love for whatever reason, was elevated, along with C.J. Brewer, who a lot of us believe should have made the roster out of training camp. So at least there is some backups there. But I mean, we were all so excited about Calijah Kancey and Vita Vea getting after it from the first week of the season.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're going to have to wait a little bit more. Hopefully he's back by week 2, which would be ironic because they're playing the Lions. And last year, Calijah Kancey came back against the Lions. So hopefully it's not a long-term thing for Calijah Kancey. But definitely a little bit of a damper of what is going to be hopefully an exciting day.
Yeah, it's a calf injury too, and you hope it's not the same calf that's giving some problems, But this was the depth chart when the Buccaneers came out with their 53-man roster, and you can see the defensive line at the top there. Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey, Greg Gaines, Logan Hall, Will Golston, and Ernest Brown. In just the span of 1 week, 3 of those guys are not going to play in this game. Kancey is out. Logan Hall is out with a foot injury, and Ernest Brown, as you mentioned, Matt, being placed on injured reserve for the first 4 weeks of the season. So if you're looking at shuffling the deck, all those guys kind of move up a spot. I think they're going to start Will Golston on first downs in place of Kalijah Kancey, just because Greg Gaines is more of that backup nose tackle. And so you want to kind of keep him fresh. There might be some instances, short yardage, goal line, where you see Greg Gaines and Vita Vea in there together. But primarily, Greg Gaines is going to be the backup to Vita Vea. So it's going to be tough to play those guys unless it's in spot situations like that. And we'll get more into this particular, I don't say debacle, but problem for the Buccaneers in just a few minutes. But we do want to recognize a couple of our Pewter Report TV channel members that just joined up. And we really appreciate this. Greg Francis is coming on board as a Pewter Premier member, and the same with Ben Vecti. And Noah Parr is joining as a Pewter Platinum member. So thank you so much for your support of Pewter Report and for becoming Pewter Report TV channel members.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all so very, very much. And also want to give a shout out to Michael Gizzy, who says, it's my birthday and we're going to win. So happy birthday to you, Michael. I do think there is something about like birthday luck and birthday magic where sometimes things go your way a little bit more, especially like if you're golfing or something on your birthday. Right. So hopefully that translates to the Bucs winning today for your birthday, Michael. So happy birthday. And of course, while we are going to continue to preview this matchup, you know our rule. If you super chat us, we are happy to get to it with whatever you want to talk about it. I'm assuming on game day you want to talk about the Bucs and their upcoming game. So thank you to Football Fan 1999 with the super chat, who says, who will have the most touchdowns today? Very good question.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, it's a lot of it is who's going to have the most targets today. And, kind of as we talked about and we will talk about on this show, with Washington having a porous secondary, I can't help but believe that Mike Evans won't get his fair share of targets, and particularly in the red zone. So I would go with Mike Evans. He probably has the best opportunity to score the most touchdowns, but also week one is kind of all over the place. I mean, who had Trey Palmer scoring a touchdown in week one last year? If the ground game gets going, then obviously Rachaad White is a viable candidate. I also gave a touchdown prop to use on Pewter Picks and Props. So you can check out that on our YouTube channel right now. But yeah, I would go with Mike Evans.
I'm going to say Rachaad White. I think he finds the touchdown, one via the ground and one via the air. So I like him maybe getting a screen touchdown in this game as well as a rushing touchdown. I think he ends up leading the team with 2 today. And we've got another generous donation here from Paul, a.k.a. Florida Dream House, gifted a Pewter Report membership. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. Greatly appreciate your support, all of you that have become Pewter Report TV channel members, and just the people that also show up, too, to make our shows so great and popular. We really appreciate all the participation, whether you have a chance to join us for a live show or just watch or listen to an audio or video version of the archive show. That's the great thing about Pewter Pregame this year. We're doing it at 9 a.m. So you've got pretty much all day to watch it before the 4:25 kickoffs, even longer to watch it for those night games coming up, and plenty of time, too, to watch or listen to the Pewter Pregame show if there's a 1 o'clock kickoff as well, which that'll be the case next week against the Lions. But we would be remiss if we didn't tell you to make sure at 4:20, get there a couple minutes early, because the live show will start at 4:25, but Matt's going to let you in early for Pewter Game Day. And that's at 4:25 when the Bucs and the Commanders kick off today, right here on Pewter Report TV. We made it easy for you. You can watch it on Pewter Report TV. You can also watch it on pewterreport.com. We've got both of the shows today on our website, so you can watch it there. We also will be streaming this live on Facebook and also on X. So lots of great ways to catch Matt Matera and Josh Capo. Josh Capo is going to be taking over as our guest host all throughout the season with Matt. So Matt and Josh will be providing awesome Pewter Report analysis every single week, and we're excited about that. Make sure you're there at Pewter Game Day and enjoy the commentary, Matt. That's the best thing is you're there at One Buck in Your Place, every single day of the week. You have the insight that you're going to bring. So when you have those biased TV announcers that don't talk well about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just turn down the dial. Watch the TV broadcast. Turn down the dial and keep an eye on Matt and Josh talking about the Buccaneers with all sorts of insight and context for today's game live as it happens.
Yeah, super pumped to be doing this again. I think the live reactions are the best part too.
Yes.
Myself and Josh did a handful of games last year, so excited to be doing it again with Josh. He's got a fantastic and brilliant football mind, and then also some guest appearances. Zach Blobner from WDAE, the Jay and Zach show, will be coming on at halftime for a couple of minutes, and then T. Kraz of Tom Krasnicki of The Drive will be joining in either late third quarter or early in the fourth quarter. So we'll have some WDAE guests all throughout the year as well. So very excited about that.
Yes.
Let's keep the super chats rolling as we pregame the game to continue. Redfish going a little college, so we'll comment on this briefly. Yeah. Thank you, Redfish, for the $1.99 super chat, who says, your Wildcats made it interesting yesterday, SR.
Yes. A win is a win, and I do have a Kansas State Wildcat shirt for new Buccaneer quarterback Michael Pratt to wear around the facility on Wednesday, so I'll be bringing that. That was our bet. We had a T-shirt bet. I'd have to wear a Tulane Green Wave shirt during open locker room, or he would have to wear a Kansas State Wildcat shirt, being a Tulane quarterback that beat my Wildcats 2 years ago. We got some revenge yesterday. That was fun to see.
Thanks to Hunter Austin for this $4.99 super chat, who says, could you see Yaya, Anthony Nelson, maybe moving inside given the depth issues at defensive tackle? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because I've thought about the fact that Yaya will kind of line up.
Yeah.
He can line up in other places, and Anthony Nelson can as well to a degree. But I don't think on a consistent basis of play in and play out lining up at defensive tackle.
Right.
But you may see a couple of stunts and things of that nature.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to see Will Golston primarily on rundowns start the game there. And you might see, like I said, in short yardage, Greg Gaines will probably line up next to Vita Vea. He's kind of a small defensive tackle in terms of stature. He's built like a fire plug, but he's got great pad level. And so for the short yardage situations, goal line, I think you will see the two Washington Husky defensive tackles line up there. So that's how they're going to replace Kalijah Kancey there. But the more interesting part is in nickel. What are the Bucs going to do in nickel? I wouldn't be surprised at all if this team used Joe Tryon-Shoyinka as a nickel rusher. Go back to his rookie season. Remember, Jason Pierre-Paul used to be used as the nickel rusher for Todd Bowles when he had Jason Pierre-Paul and when he had Shaq Barrett. And so during his rookie season, JTS played a lot inside as a rusher because he's so quick and disruptive and he's got good length. So wouldn't be surprised if he uses his chess piece, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, in those situations to provide some speed and disruption on the inside next to Vita Vea while keeping Chris Braswell on the outside along with Yaya Diaby as the kind of bookend pass rushers. And, of course, you're going to see Anthony Nelson out there, too. Remember, Nelly got a sack in week 1 last year against Kirk Cousins. So Todd Bowles likes the fact that Nelson is so smart. He's the kind of guy that's not going to give into that play action bootleg, right, where you kind of suck the defensive end, to kind of crash down the line of scrimmage, and then you bootleg around him to the outside. Nelly is typically one of those high IQ guys that Todd Bowles loves. Plus, he's got length at 6'7" to really kind of set the edge and keep Jaden Daniels in the pocket. That's where they want him. So I wouldn't be surprised. You might see Yaya Diaby inside because he's a bigger guy, 270 pounds. JTS is about 260. So Diaby's got that size. You see what he's doing here against Derrick Henry last year from the Titans. Brian Robinson's a big back as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him inside. But I would be probably expecting Joe Tryon-Shoyinka just because of his experience as a nickel rusher inside. That might be the lineup where you have Braswell or Nelson on the outside, Diaby at the other side, and then inside
Mhm.
Vita Vea and JTS. But Todd Bowles has been known to mix it up, so anything goes, especially in week 1.
Right. Todd Bowles likes to call Anthony Nelson Steady Eddie, but I'm going to give him another name. Well, call him by another name because Anthony Nelson seems to always be Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
Like if the ball bounces his way, a block is missed his way, and he's got a free run at the quarterback. So good things seem to happen one way or another when Anthony Nelson is in the game. And, I remember going as far back as the NFL annual meetings that were in Orlando
Yeah.
Earlier this year, where Todd Bowles was talking about Joe Tryon-Shoyinka and just kind of like a different role that he could have being that quote unquote joker role and kind of using all the athleticism that JTS has more than some of the other outside linebackers, and just seeing him kind of moving all over the field. That might have to be a situation out of necessity this afternoon when the Bucs go up against the Washington Commanders. And yeah, even though the Bucs are thin at defensive tackle, that's the beauty, and that's the reason of why they kept so many outside linebackers coming out of the preseason, so they can use all of them at the same time on the field and in several different ways. So yeah, certainly one of the biggest things to look at for today's game. And thank you to Joel L. Regan, who's been a Pewter Report YouTube channel member for 1 month now.
He was an original member.
Game day. Yeah, an original member for sure. Who says, "Happy game day, Pewter people. Go Bucs." Yes, it is a joyous time. It is a very, very happy game day. Let's talk a little bit about the offense with this super chat from Football Fan. Thank you, Football Fan, for another super chat, this one of $9.99, who says, "I expect Baker to have a good game. Is there any reason or reasons to why he shouldn't have a good one?"
Yeah, I mean, if he gets pressure in his face,
that's exactly what I was
Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne, if that pocket collapses from the interior, that's where he's going to, I think, get some disruption. Because remember, Baker's not a big guy, 6'1", generously maybe, and he needs to be able to have that pocket. We had Greg Cosell on our podcast last year. He talked about the importance of having room for Baker to step up into his throws. He's a rhythm passer. So you want to be able to have that kind of clean pocket, and you have to be stout at the line of scrimmage, the center and the two guards. And we've seen Cody Mount get bigger this offseason. Ben Bredesen is a big left guard, and certainly an upgrade in terms of size with Graham Barton over Robert Hainsey. So that is going to be key, not having that pocket collapse from the interior. It's one thing. And listen, I don't expect Tristan Wirfs or Luke Gedeke to have it collapse from the outside, from the perimeter. But you would almost prefer that for a pocket passer like Baker, where he can step up into the throw. And if you remember Drew Brees back in the day, that's one thing that frustrated Buccaneers fans and the coaches at the time was Drew Brees usually had a pretty good center, and he could just step up into those throws even as a small guy and still kind of thwart the Bucs pass rush from the edge rushers coming from the outside, because he had quick reads and enough time to throw. So that's the big thing is making sure that the Buccaneers win that matchup, or at least stalemate it, Matt. They don't have to sit there and dominate up front. But they can't be the weakness, this interior offensive line.
Yeah, my initial thoughts to this question, and thanks again to Football Fan, it's not even like Baker himself. It's Graham Barton. It's Ben Bredesen. It's all those guys up front, because Baker is not tall. And we've seen in the past, even when there is a good pocket, his pass will get blocked at the line of scrimmage. Just kind of the nature of Baker being on the smaller side at quarterback. So, if they start blitzing or start getting through that A gap, and Baker, while he is mobile, he's not going to scramble and avoid people the way that, Jaden Daniels made today, or like Lamar Jackson that we saw on Thursday. So Baker needs that space. He needs that pocket. So that's going to be very important. The other thing I'll say is, Baker has the arm where he can make any throw. He can go deep down the field as well. But sometimes his mechanics get a little all over the place, and he'll go on like a 3 or 4 pass streak of where he's just inaccurate for whatever reason. Yeah. And that's the consistency that we've talked about with Baker Mayfield. I think today the Bucs could still get by with it, but that's not something you want to see all season. So just maintaining his accuracy throughout the game and not letting some poor mechanics kind of take over. I'm not saying he has poor mechanics all the time, but sometimes when he's rushed or things like that, the throw gets away from him, and I don't want to see that today.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I expect Baker to come out and have a good game. As long as he has some time to throw. We've seen in practice, Matt, how quickly he gets rid of the ball.
Yeah.
There's going to be some shot plays, but this is a quick rhythm, get the ball out very quick, short, intermediate routes, get the ball in the hands of the receivers. And what I like about this, and what's different from like the John Gruden West Coast offense style, which is also kind of a short game, quick rhythm passing, is instead of those hooks and curls and comebacks where the receivers are catching the ball with their backs to the end zone. This is an offense that's designed to get these receivers on the move, their hands on the ball, so they can get some yards after catch and turn up field and take a 7-yard reception and turn it into a 17-yard play and pick up a first down. That's this LA Rams style of offense that Liam Cohen has brought from LA and from the Sean McVay tree to Tampa Bay. And so far, so good from what we've seen in training camp.
Thanks to Scotty J for these very kind words. Of course, a Pewter Report YouTube channel member who says $25 a month is the best investment for all the in-depth analysis and work you do for us. It's game time. Got my eye patch on and ready to fire down range. Join up, people. Thank you so much, Scotty J. That is extremely, extremely kind of you to say. So thank you so much.
That's awesome. Also, too, we want to recognize Revfish, who, along with Joel Orican, turns 1 month today in terms of his Pewter Report TV channel membership. So thank you so much for your continued support. Greatly appreciate it. And he says, Braswell, Barton, and others playing their first game. Should we be concerned about rookie jitters? You know what? I think for Barton, the rookie jitters are going to be gone pretty quickly when he gets hit by Jonathan
after the
Allen,
first
Daron
snap.
Payne. Yeah. Then it's playing football. And the great thing is, Matt, we saw him and Jalen McMillan play in all 3 preseason games.
Yes.
Even though he is a starter, he played in all 3 preseason games, and so did McMillan. They needed to get that experience, the reps, etc. So very smart move by Liam Cohen and Todd Bowles to get these guys ready for week 1 by playing the entire preseason.
Yeah, I mean, rookie jitters, I think you could say that about every team, across the league that has rookies. I mean, Jay Daniels is a rookie playing in his first ever game. So hopefully for Bucs fans, he has rookie jitters, and Grant Barton, some of the other guys don't. So we will see. We have another super chat. Thank you to Daniel Thurgood for this $5 euro, I believe. So thank you very much, Daniel, who says, so excited for the start of the season. Looking forward to seeing Jalen McMillan slot into this offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be a great addition. Go Bucs.
We talked about it before this week. You go back and look at Trey Palmer. 2 of his touchdowns last year came in the first 4 games of the season. While these defensive coordinators paying so much attention to Mike and Chris and maybe even Kate Otten, Jalen McMillan is going to be on the field a lot as that starting wide receiver 3 in this 3-receiver offense. And he's going to get overlooked, and he's going to get some opportunities. And we've already seen Baker Mayfield trust Jalen McMillan in practice, and certainly with that big 28-yard gain in the preseason where he basically threw a 50-50 ball up and trusted McMillan to go get it, and he certainly did. And, folks, if there's one place you can trust to have all of the games on today and some great food and some great drinks, well, it's our friends over at Walk-Ons.
Yeah, so what happened out there tonight?
We struck out at home with leftovers, then we remembered Walk-Ons.
What effect did the situation have?
Spirit soared. Nick took on a burger. Jen obliterated her ribeye po' boy. And speaking of spirits, Laura even scored a real tasty cocktail. She needed that.
Any lessons learned today?
Yeah. Head straight to Walk-Ons.
Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers, and cocktails. Walk-Ons for the win.
I was at Walk-Ons yesterday watching my Kansas State Wildcats
hang on
to beat. Yeah, you were on Friday. Yeah, and I was there yesterday watching Kansas State barely beat Tulane, but a win's a win, especially with the scoop and score touchdown to seal that victory, which I always love as a defensive guy. But Walk-Ons has got 3 locations in Tampa, so you want to make sure you get there on game days, whether it's Saturdays or Sundays. They've got 4.49 pints, 22-ounce pours, $5.99. Those for Michelob Ultra, Bud Light, and Budweiser. $5 Heineken Silver, 12-ounce cans, and $5 neutral assorted flavors. So get to Walk-Ons, 3 locations. One in Wesley Chapel, Lutz, which is my neck of the woods up here, across from the Outlet Mall. Midtown Tampa, down there by the stadium, as well as Lakeland. You can find out more about Walk-Ons. their menu and those locations at walkons.com.
Yeah, I was at Walk-Ons on Friday. Great time. Had the chicken bomber sandwich, which
Oh, yeah,
was
that's a good one.
fantastic,
Yeah.
and some fried pickles as an
Yeah.
appetizer. And funny enough, because the Midtown area, there's like a bunch of places. So I was enjoying Walk-Ons.
Yeah.
And who did I bump into? Will Golston, who now has a huge role in this game. So
Yeah.
Will was walking on the other side. So I was like, Will, and we waved at each other real quick. But yeah, so go to Walk-Ons. Maybe you'll run into a Bucs player as well.
There you
So
go.
Shout
Yeah.
out Will.
Let's get to some of our key matchups for this week's game. Let's start with the offensive side first, and we'll talk about the Bucs offense versus the Commanders defense presented by BetUS. So the Bucs interior offensive line versus the Commanders defensive tackles, Matt. We've talked about this all week, yet it remains top of mind today, does it not?
Oh, it has to be. I think outside of the Kalijah Cansey situation of him not playing, I think Grant Barton, Ben Bredesen, and sure, Cody Mauk too. He is going into his second season. You hope the growth is there, but you don't really know until you see it in the regular season. But yeah, to me, this is of the highest concern for the Buccaneers, and I think obviously for the offense, the most important thing that they have to take care of in this game. So there's no doubt about it. If we're picking one or the other, I think I'm actually going to go with the Commanders defensive tackles because they are a menacing group up front, and we're talking about a rookie in his first career start at center. So unfortunately, I'm taking the Commanders defensive tackles in this one.
I'm going to say it's going to be a push. I think the Commanders defensive tackles win the first half, but I like the Buccaneers to kind of wear them down. I think the running game is going to get going. It's going to be mostly an outside attack, but they're going to mix it up with some inside runs. And so I'm going to say this is a push. The Commanders defensive tackles win the first half. Tampa Bay's offensive line salts away a win in the second half here. Rashad White versus Frankie Louvu. Now, this is a match that we saw a couple times last year because Frankie Louvu came over from the Panthers to join the Commanders. Rashad White is going to be a busy guy, not just running the ball, but catching the ball. And Louvu has got some speed to be able to keep up with him on the outside.
Yeah, I think this one I'm going to go with a push just out of the respect for Frankie Louvu. I'm still very excited for Rashad White. I think he's going to have some moments. I just have a gut feeling he's going to be like an Alvin Kamara type of player for the Bucs, where maybe his impact is felt more in the passing game than it necessarily is in the running game. But we saw the Panthers, and maybe part of it was because Baker was hurt, but we saw the Panthers kind of shut down the Bucs offense, and Frankie Louvu was a big part of that. So now he comes over to the Commanders, and especially with the weather, and we'll see what happens with that. It may kind of like even the playing field a little bit more. So as excited as I am about Rashad White, I will take a push on this one.
You know what? I'm expecting a big day from Rashad White with the touchdown, so I've got to kind of give him the edge a little bit. So I'm going to say Rashad White, but I do respect Frankie Louvu, and I could see where you're going with that, Matt. Now, Mike Evans against Benjamin St-Juste. Now, this is a big-time cornerback in terms of his size and length. He's really the only cornerback that has size to match up with Mike Evans, but Mike Evans is just a better player, isn't he?
Oh, he's the greatest offensive player in Buccaneers history. I said this last year, and I'll continue to say it this year. There are not many matchups, really, with the next two people on the Bucs that we're going to talk about. There are not many matchups where I won't be taking Mike Evans. And, Washington's secondary, again, is their weakness on defense, so it's Mike Evans all day.
Yeah, I agree. Mike Evans is going to take this matchup. Tristan Wirfs, the left tackle, versus the defensive end, Dorrance Armstrong, who came over from Dallas, so he knows Dan Quinn's defense and knows what Dan Quinn wants to do. And Tristan Wirfs, Matt, he looked a little mortal at times, believe it or not. There were some times where Yaya Diaby was giving him fits. Chop Robinson actually beat him.
Yeah, Chop Robinson.
So I don't know. I don't think much of Dorrance Armstrong, though. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. But I think Tristan Wirfs is going to come out and dominate Armstrong. The Commanders used to have two really good ends in Chase Young and Sweat. And now I think that's kind of turned into a weakness, but I like Wirfs in this matchup.
I understand what you're saying about Wirfs having some slip-ups and things like that. But again, those are all in practice and training camp and where it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Now that the lights are on, now that it's go time, I have no doubts about Tristan Wirfs. And he's probably pissed off because Iowa lost to Iowa State.
That's true.
I don't know if you want to deal with a pissed off Tristan Wirfs.
Exactly. Chris Godwin versus Mikey Sainristil. This is a cornerback that the Buccaneers really liked. Now, they'll also like Tyke Smith, but
Yeah.
if Mikey Sainristil was there from Michigan, they might have taken him. He's going to play nickel, and he's an undersized guy, very tough, very physical for his size. Kind of one of those pound-for-pound guys. Reminds me a little bit of Rondé Barber in that instance. But Chris Godwin back in the slot, that might mean some good things for this Buccaneer offense and for Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin was at his best in the slot, and now he goes up against a rookie. I'll take Chris Godwin.
I'm going to take Chris Godwin too. So give the Buccaneers offense the edge today over the Commanders overall. And we've got a couple more Super Chats coming in, Matt.
Yes. Let's get to these Super Chats. Thank you to Hezo813.
Thank you so much, Hezo.
Pewter Report YouTube channel member as well. You've been great with the Pewter Insiders on Friday as well. And thank you so much for this $20 Super Chat. As Hezo says, Baker said this is the closest knit team he's ever been a part of, which is a huge deal, in my opinion. SR, Matty Diamonds, based off of how often you guys are in the locker room, is this the tightest knit Bucs team you've ever been a part of?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just year 29 for me. So, yeah, it really is. There's no a-holes on this team, right? There's not even that one guy. And I'm not saying that Devin White was. It's just Devin White stood out like a sore thumb because he was kind of me. Now, the players liked him. Devin was a likable guy. But, they've had guys like Chris Baker in the past who was a turd, Austin Safarian Jenkins. There's been some of those guys that just have not been a good culture fit. And culture can win games. That Chris Kleiman yesterday said culture allowed Kansas State to come back.
Yeah.
In that Tulane game, that he said we won that game because of culture, because these guys believed in each other. We saw that last year, Matt, when this team was 4-7 and Todd Bowles didn't panic. There was no flinch. This team got it together, went on a 5-1 run, won the division, made the playoffs. Culture counts. When you have guys that want to fight for their brothers, you're never out of the fight. And I think that's what Baker means by this. And this tight-knit group got even tighter this year, and everybody that's come in, Matt, we've had a chance to interview all of these rookies that have come in, all of the free agents. It's just gotten even tighter. This is a brotherhood of Buccaneers.
Yeah, I asked Jason Light kind of about that a little bit a couple weeks ago with the chemistry and everything like that, and he said, it's important. It maybe not necessarily is going to win you every single game, but I've seen teams that were great. And when you don't have that chemistry and when people don't like each other, it crumbles from the start and you don't have a chance. And for me, when I first started covering the Bucs, it was like one of the last years of Dirk Cutter. And when the team's not winning, it's kind of, you can still be close knit, but it's tougher because you're mad because you're losing all the time. Yeah. Then Bruce comes in. It was the last year of Jameis. We all know how that went. Then it was COVID with Tom Brady. 2 years later, AB's saying peace out on the field. Yeah. So kind of based on all of those factors, I think we do have to say that this is one of the closest teams, at least that I've covered, just based on the relationships with so many different guys at so many different positions kind of intermingling, which is great to see. It's also great to see Cincy Kid in the house. Thanks for this $10 super chat, who says, the Bucs were jet flying and now limousine riding in the team bus to the stadium to beat the Commanders. Evans will be stepping on the field, styling and profiling with the touchdowns. Can I get a woo?
Matt, you are right now in your zone for Pewter Game Day, and I love it. Pewter Game Day doesn't kick off at 4:25, but Matt Matera is ready to go, ladies and gentlemen, and I love it. And as Paul, a.k.a. Florida Dreamhouse, one of our Pewter Report TV channel members, says, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo! Woo! Got a chance to meet Ric Flair this summer. That was really cool. That was
That's right.
I've met a lot of people. I don't get starstruck because I've just been doing this for a while. But when I met Ric Flair, I was like a little kid again watching wrestling on the old TBS Turner broadcast system. And that was cool. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And he's a Tampa resident. He'll be at some Bucs games. I know he does some things for the 49ers and Panthers. He kind of goes anywhere he's needed, but he's also a Buccaneer fan as well. He likes a couple other teams though. Let's continue on with our pregame and get to my side of the ball here. Let's look at the Buccaneer defense versus the Commanders offense. KJ Britt versus Jaden Daniels, Matt. The reason I've got this on here is because KJ Britt is going to be the captain of this defense, even though he doesn't wear a C. He'll have the green dot on the helmet. He knows this defense. He's been in this scheme now for 4 years. He's in a contract year. Todd Bowles loves KJ Britt. This is going to be the chess match now between the rookie quarterback making the calls and the adjustments and the audibles, and KJ Britt countering that. So this would be the pre-snap chess match between Britt and Daniels. And I think you have to give the edge to Britt here. Now, when the ball is snapped, KJ Britt's a good tackler, but he's not the most athletic guy. He's not the fastest linebacker. So when he has a chance to get Daniels on the ground and stay in his gap, he has got to do that. Jaden Daniels is one of those quarterbacks that can make you miss and make you look bad. So I say this is a push. I like Britt pre-snap, trying to outfox the rookie. But when the ball is snapped, I don't know that I trust Britt's lack of athleticism versus Jaden Daniels, especially in the open field.
That's pretty much what I was going to say. Is like pre-snap, I'm taking Britt and like the knowledge and the reads and everything like that. But there's no denying the athleticism of Jaden Daniels and what he can just do, not even as a quarterback, but just as a football player. And it's not even KJ Britt's fault. I mean, Jaden Daniels is kind of one of a kind when it comes to what he can do, on the field. So I was, I was thinking push as well, and that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah. Next up, Antoine Winfield Jr. versus wide receiver Terry McLaurin. I think that Todd Bowles, he doesn't like to do a bunch of cover two, but he might roll Antoine Winfield Jr. to Terry McLaurin's side to help out whatever corner is playing McLaurin. McLaurin's going to see some time on the left side and the right side. Remember, Zion McCollum will be the left cornerback replacing Carlton Davis. Jamel Dean will stay on that right side. Todd Bowles typically does not have a corner travel with a top wide receiver. If he does, I think it's going to be Zion McCollum on Terry McLaurin. But whoever that is, I think is going to get some help with Antoine Winfield Jr. over the top. In my opinion, when I hear Todd Bowles call someone an elite receiver, that means that he has their attention. And if that's the case, I like Winfield coming up with an interception in this game.
Terry McLaurin is a very talented wide receiver. I think he'll benefit a ton from having just better quarterback play in his career. I mean, I still remember watching him at the Senior Bowl and him lighting it up. So I respect his game a lot. With that said, Antoine Winfield Jr. Was the highest paid defensive back for a reason.
Yeah.
And he's an all-pro. So I'm going to take Antoine Winfield Jr.
And next up is Tyke Smith, the rookie nickel cornerback, versus Noah Brown. If you remember, Noah Brown got the better of the Buccaneers in that Houston Texans game. I want to say he had a big touchdown, long touchdown in the third quarter. He'll be seeing some time in the slot, so that's going to be a key matchup to watch there. Noah Brown has got some sneaky speed, and Tyke Smith is going to have to clamp him down. I'm going to go with Tyke Smith on this one. I just believe in this kid. You know, he didn't have an interception in the preseason, didn't have one in training camp either, but he has the ability to do so. Will his first career interception come in week 1 in his NFL debut?
I'm going to take Noah Brown on this one just because I think there are certain players and certain teams that just end up being a thorn in the side of whatever opponent. I think a perfect example, and a lot of you Tampanians will probably know what I'm talking about. USF just seems to be a thorn in the side of Alabama, though Alabama has won. The last 2 years, USF has just put it to Bama and really frustrated them. I just have a feeling Noah Brown might be that type of guy for the Bucs for whatever reason. He did it against them last year with the Texans, and I think he may get a couple of shots in today's game. So I'm going to take Noah Brown just based off of what he could do if the Commanders try to dial some things up for him.
Yeah. Levante David, the old 34-year-old pro linebacker versus rookie tight end Ben Sinnott from my alma mater, Kansas State. Now, Zach Ertz is going to be the starter, but I would not be surprised if Ben Sinnott, who is the young, spry guy on offense, it gets some looks as well. So it's really essentially Ertz and Sinnott versus Levante David. But I think Sinnott is the guy that has the athleticism. We saw those epic matchups last year between Levante David and the Lions rookie tight end who had a great year, Sam Laporta. I'm going to go with Levante David on this one, though. I like Sinnott. He's no Sam Laporta. I think he has a chance to become a Laporta-type tight end, but maybe not in week 1. So I'm going to give the old crafty veteran Levante David the nod today.
For sure. No disrespect to Benson, and I have him on one of my fantasy teams, so I hope he has a great season and a great career.
Just not
But
today.
Levante's the man. He's got to be riding high after Nebraska beat down Colorado. So, yeah, I mean, Levante's been doing this for a long time. I'm going to take him against a rookie.
Yep. And finally, Yaya Diaby, Sub-Zero versus left tackle Brandon Coleman. I like Diaby coming back with a vengeance. His partner in crime, Kalijah Cansey, is not out there today. I think he has a little extra oomph playing for number 94. His brother, who will be on the sidelines, unfortunately, with that calf injury. I like Yaya Diaby to have a monster day today. I'm not saying he's going to get 2 or 3 sacks, but he's going to make his presence felt. I do believe he'll get to Jaden Daniels at least once, but I expect him to be a very active player for Todd Bowles in this defense today.
I'm so excited for the return of Yaya Diaby. I mean, he's a physical specimen. He's quick. I don't think the ankle is going to be an issue for him. He's had a month to rest it. He's still doing his Pilates and everything like that. I'm very excited for Yaya, and I will take him in this matchup because I think he's going to do great things this year.
He is Sub-Zero.
And make great graphics.
Yes, exactly. So that is the Pewter pregame show in terms of the matchups. If you checked out Pewter preview and predictions, all of us picked the Buccaneers to beat the Commanders today and start the season 1-0. So we're either all going to be right or all going to be wrong. And we all had the Buccaneers starting this season with a 10-7 record. And we'll see how far this Buccaneer team goes in the playoffs. But a little bit of consensus there, Matt, in terms of week 1 and also for the season today with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I remember last year I was the only one to not pick the Bucs to win. I remember I took Minnesota last year. Not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they should win this game. If they can handle the interior of Washington, I think they're going to win this game, even despite the injuries to the Bucs' own defensive line, which we talked about. But Vita Vea is still a great player. And, this defense, I think, can cover up any issues that they had. I am very confident in this group. And thank you to Henry Gigante, who's been a Pewter Report YouTube channel member for 1 month, says becoming a member has been great. Friday videos are must watch. Let's freaking big. Yeah, that's true. The Pewter Insider is a lot of fun. A little more casual.
Yeah.
A lot of good inside info that we don't necessarily do on the podcast itself. So, yeah, highly recommend it to anyone that's interested.
Yeah, we talked, we broke some news on there. Didn't really maybe warrant a story because it's something that's not going to happen. But on Friday, we let our Pewter Insiders know first that there's not going to be a Bucs Ring of Honor game this year. So the Buccaneers will have their 50th anniversary as a franchise next year, and they might do something then. But for the second year in a row, there's not going to be a Bucs Ring of Honor game. So even people like myself that were kind of speculating maybe Tom Brady comes to Tampa Bay, does a broadcast, and then gets in the Bucs Ring of Honor. That's not the case. But what is the case, Cincy Kid has become a Pewter Report TV channel member. So thank you so much, Cincy Kid.
Thank you, Cincy Kid. Appreciate your contributions to today's show as well.
Just a reminder, we've got a special little thing called Pewter Game Day coming up at 4:25. You can come a little early if you want. 4:20 is when the live stream starts. Matt Matera from Pewter Report and Josh Capo will be giving you all the Buccaneers insight and reactions to all of the action today. You have to watch the game on your broadcast TV, but you can listen and watch all of the reaction from Matt and Josh throughout the game as they provide some context, and it's strictly about the Buccaneers. So these are the insiders. These are the people that you want to help carry you throughout the game, give you the insight into what's really happening that you're not going to find on the broadcast. So make sure you watch the broadcast because the game is not broadcast on our stream, but you can watch Matt and Josh and also our friends from WDA joining as well. Zach Blobner at halftime and Tom Krasnicki from the afternoon drive with T-Kraz, who will be joining us in the second half.
Yeah, and we'll make it as interactive as possible with people in the chat. Of course, we'll answer any super chat. YouTube channel members, obviously, we'll get to some of their comments too. And just a reminder, obviously, Josh and I, we have to have our screens synced up at the same time, so one of us isn't ahead of the other. So you may run into a situation where when you're watching from wherever you're watching from, it may be a little bit quicker than we are. If that's the case, feel free to like pause it and sync it up with our live stream, or also just take that into consideration as you are watching the show. So just a friendly reminder there, but it's going to be so much fun. We had a blast doing it last year. The way this team we expect to play this season should be even that much more fun. We'll talk about some of my prop bets as well, my Bucs player props, which you can watch on Pewter Picks and Props right now on our YouTube channel, but we'll be watching closely to those bets as well. And like I said, Josh is fantastic when it comes to analysis and breakdown. So I am super pumped for the Pewter Game Day show. I'm super pumped that Bucs football is back. 420 for the game day show, 425 for the game. Bucs versus Commanders. We're only hours away, and we get to enjoy football at 1 o'clock.
I know. It's going to be fun.
So
make sure that you download the Autograph app as well. It's free to download, free to use. There's no cost. You can download it for your iPhone at the App Store on Apple, and as well as Android users, you can get it at Google Play. What is Autograph? Well, it's the place to go. People have said, when is Pewter Report coming out with an app? We're not, but this serves as our app. So you can read all of our Pewter Report news, stories are up there. You can also watch the Pewter Report podcasts up there as well. So we've got all of our podcasts and videos, as well as all of our stories. And you're going to get rewarded for doing so. You get points for each story that you read, as well as points, even more points, for watching videos on this app. You can turn those points into tickets or merchandise. And it's co-founded by Tom Brady on the belief that the devotion of fans should be rewarded, and the future of fandom does belong to the fans. So it's a great way to follow Pewter Report. You can also, check us out on your browser, of course, but all of our content is also on Autograph Fandom Rewarded. Make sure that you use the promo code Pewter to sign up. That's PEWTER when you download the Autograph app.
And also make sure you follow us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report. And then our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV, where you can also find the Pewter Game Day show, which we'll be doing later on today at 4:20. So that's going to do it for us on the Pewter Preview show. So for Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you later this afternoon for the Pewter Game Day show. Out.